A few days ago, I spoke with a man named Greg Garrett. He calls himself the Corporate Yogi. Greg spent years building a very successful business career and later started helping people grow through life's challenges. But during our conversation, he said something that caught me completely off guard. He said, "What if tinnitus is not only a problem to eliminate, but also a teacher trying to get your attention?"
And the problem is the way you see the problem. What's the gift of tinnitus?
If you learn how to deal with this, it makes you stronger, more resilient, more focused. If you, instead of giving to it, you conquer it, you become more focused, more resilient, stronger mentally for sure. My name is Guy, and I'm a hearing health and tinnitus coach. I myself have been managing severe hearing loss and severe tinnitus for more than 15 years now.
The upside, the gift of it comes with a gift, it comes bearing a gift. So in the yogic communities, when you look at yogis, a yogi never sees a problem. The yogi just sees a priority. And so what you're saying is, look, if you deal with your number one priority, it will make you stronger, it will make you more resilient, and it will make you more focused. And it will give you greater mental clarity and greater mental sharpness. Yeah, so
I think
we
that's my opinion, but yeah.
yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I agree with you because I'm teaching people to learn to control the mind who, let me say it this way, who unfortunately haven't got tinnitus. Unfortunately. Because, yeah, because you see, the real reason that tinnitus is great in this way is because it provides fire, it provides urgency. And one of the things that could be real, because you see this idea of, I would encourage you to really spend time with what is the gift of tinnitus. And I think you can convert a lot of people by helping them to tune in. So let me say it another way. In the yogic tradition, people who have ill health are being called to learn to heal themselves. They're not being called to go to Big Pharma and take pills. Yes, they should go and maybe see a medical professional and work with them. Yet they're really being called to heal themselves. So also in the yogic tradition, people who have, let's call them so-called disabilities, which I'd rather call them gifts, need to realize what the gift is asking of them. So when someone's got tinnitus, it's like, what is tinnitus asking of you? If you knew what to asking, and it's asking you to be stronger, to be more resilient, to be more focused, to create a clear mind, to create a focused mind. So, and this is a shift in perspective, a shift in consciousness that is really necessary for people to go on the healing journey. And another aspect of this is responsibility. So even though people say, Guy, will you help me? Will you guide me? It's not, Guy, will you fix me? Because they have to fix themselves. That is their responsibility. That is their job. It's not your job to fix them. It's your job to guide them. It's your job to show them what works and to introduce them to the secrets and the nuances. But actually, in terms of doing the journey and doing the work, it's their responsibility. So what's coming up for me is I think you can do some great work around removing the shame and this idea of craziness And another way that I would speak to people who have a condition like tinnitus is that they are being asked to live an accelerated existence. So the way I talk about it is part of the human map has been cut off from them. Now, it might be that it's being cut off because previously they didn't listen. And so in this lifetime, it's okay, you're going to do the work. You are going to learn how the mind works. And
So
therefore, you can say, look, I met this guy called the Corporate Yogi. Some people would say he's crazy. Other people would say he's inspired. Let me share what he said and you decide. And as people who have got tinnitus, is there any truth in this? Do you see your tinnitus as a gift? Can you see it as an opportunity because it's forcing you to focus on solving your situation now? It's creating fire. It's creating urgency. It's calling you to deal with it in this moment. Or do you think this guy's a lunatic? Do you think he just doesn't understand? Do you think he lacks compassion and love and joy? Do you see what I mean? So another example would be like Rain Man. Yeah, you know, in the film with Tom
yes.
Cruise. So, you know, does he have a problem or does he have a gift? Well, you know, once he starts clearing the casinos out, you know, people start to think that Dustin Hoffman then has a gift. Now, you might say it's a misappropriation or misuse of the gift. Or you might say it's a great use of the gift. Again, you know, we can divide audiences, but you could use that also as a beautiful example. Now, the point that I'm
I
making
think
to
that,
you though is you finding new ways to communicate the message of tinnitus, and you're communicating it in ways that maybe some people have just fallen asleep. You know, they tried the first thing, the second thing, the third thing. They don't think anything's working. And you might be saying, look, for those of you who are out there who've tried this and tried that and tried the other, I was speaking to a crazy friend of mine and he gave me some crazy ideas, but there might be some sense in it. Do you see though how we're then called to enrich the map, take the stigma away from tinnitus? You know, it's you know, people being ashamed or people having that impulse to have to nod even though they don't understand, and therefore not have that inner confidence to be able to say, stop, I can't hear, I don't understand. Can you slow down? Can you enunciate better? Can you repeat for me? Whatever that is, and people should be empowered to feel that they're able to do that.
yeah.
So the other thing I'd like to share with you, again as an example, you know, if you've got a woman or a man or anyone who comes to you, signs up, does one session, and then is thinking of leaving, because in most modalities, in most therapies, early on, people will change their mind. And you just need to reinforce that when they commit to buy, say, okay, you're committing to buy. And now the second commitment that you're making is that you will give me feedback after each session, but you won't reevaluate the program until after session 6. And the reason I ask that of you is because I know the journey that you're about to undertake.
We are literally changing the way that your brain reacts to sound, the
Yeah.
way that your brain, the habits of your brain to get stressed or to react to things. I'm literally using 3 different therapy approaches to achieve what I'm doing. So yeah, so
So,
they definitely take a process. It's not, and I did give the example of to people, like for example, you start a new therapy, mental therapy, because you are depressed or something. Would you expect after the first session with the therapist to be cured? No, right? The
No.
same thing here. Yeah, exactly.
So, are you familiar, Guy, then with what's known as Laya Yoga? So, Laya Yoga is where the aspirant is given a mantra, and when they say the mantra, it creates the sound in their head,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
these
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
and these sounds are revered by yogis as primordial sounds.
I used to do Kung Fu for, I don't know, like 6 years, I think, something like that. And then I
Okay.
stopped because of an injury. And I did around 6 years of Kung Fu, and that was a traditional Kung Fu. And a lot of the spiritual stuff is probably what made me strong. I mean, I was kind of always a little bit stronger than people mentally, but that definitely helped. It just kind of gives you different perspective. It gives you different strength. So all those things that some of the things you were talking about kind of resonated with me from what I was doing in Kung Fu. So
Hmm. And my point to you is to realize that in some traditions, the sounds in the head, people are trying to create them. With tinnitus, people are trying to get rid of them.
yes, yeah.
So, so I'm just giving you the paradox because it is possible that some people maybe just don't know how to make use of the sound that they've got in their head.
The one thing, Greg, that you need to understand though is that tinnitus can be very, very intrusive and overwhelming. So
Of course.
having sounds in the context that you're talking about is something positive, but tinnitus can be extremely overwhelming. So it's not that easy. But I understand what you're saying. I got it.
Yeah, it's back to we don't know what we don't know. And
Mm.
I'm just looking to enrich the space with you, to look at these
Yeah,
other
yeah.
perspectives that exist and to
Mm.
to include them, not exclude them. The path of consciousness is to say, okay, how can we include people, places, and things? Then, when we learn to consciously control the mind, which you've talked about, we then learn to focus on them and not focus on them. And so we either learn to bring them in to our thinking or to exclude them from our thinking. And it's just another offer for you. As with the gift, I'm trying to share counter examples with you where I could easily talk about the traditional aspect of tinnitus. Yeah, I'm not going to enrich our conversation if I do that. So I need to go to some far out places to offer perspectives to you to say, okay, that's interesting. Because the other journey that you're on is the journey to deepen your understanding of tinnitus even further and to find even newer solutions that are maybe more effective and more efficient than the ones that you've got at the moment. And, just believing that that possibility exists is really important.
But
No, it's good. You're enriching your understanding. You're showing that you've got a greater level of understanding than other people in
mhm.
terms of understanding the different flavors of noise in the head, the different aspects of tinnitus. And all that I'm encouraging you to do is then you become more interesting, you become more attractive. It's like, oh, have you heard Guy speak about this? And people want to listen to Guy because you've explored the sublime and the ridiculous. You went on those journeys. You didn't just dismiss them and say, "Oh, well, no." You dived in and you looked at them and you allowed them to enrich you, and to take you to new, higher places of understanding.
Yeah, that's interesting.